In 1945, a blitzed out Great Britain was in no mood to mollycoddle a cold-faced killer, even if he was American. So on March the 8th, at Pentonville Prison, AWOL paratrooper, Private Carl Gustav Holton, 23, of Boston, Massachusetts, was dropped through the gallows trapdoor and met his end. His crimes were so atrocious that even the United States government never protested the execution. British Army veteran George Edward Heath had been wounded at Dunkirk. After being discharged, he spent part of the war trying to support his wife and 2 children by driving an unlicensed taxi. On October 7th, 1944, Heath's body was found in a ditch at Knoll Green, Staines, Middlesex. He had been shot in the back and his cab stolen. At first, no one recognised him, so the press dubbed him the Cleft Chin Man, after his one outstanding feature. It didn't take long for Heath's wife to identify her husband from the news accounts, and soon constables went looking for his taxi. Finding it parked on a busy street, British police waited until Holton came back to the car and arrested him. Since he was American, investigators turned him over to the US Army, but the military quickly handed the deserter back to the British authorities. English detectives soon learned that a few days before, Holton and a stripper named Elizabeth Jones had embarked on a seemingly senseless crime spree. They met in a bar, and the American's gift of the gab wowed Elizabeth Jones. She loved to hear him brag about his mafioso friends, which was a lie, and the Nazi bastards he killed in battle, which was another lie. In truth, Holton was a coward of the worst sort, attacking only defenceless women or shooting an unarmed man in the back. Part of the D-Day assault force, Holton had abandoned his unit and stole a military truck to make his getaway. After hooking up with Jones, the deserter felt the need to impress her, so together they began their brief life of crime. While driving the army truck, he noticed a teenage girl riding a bicycle in West London. Holton, looking for a big score, snatched the surprised teen's purse. Soon Holton and Jones spied a girl walking down Edgware Road, toting a suitcase. She was en route to Paddington when Holton offered her a ride. She accepted. It came close to her being her last ride. Holton smashed her head in with a crowbar, strangled her and attempted to drown her. She barely survived the unprovoked assault, but again, the girl had little money, so the love-struck couple was still broke. Their next crime resulted in the death of cab driver Heath. This robbery netted a measly £8. Holton's final crime was the most laughable, that she always wanted a fur coat, so sitting outside a hotel, her lover waited for a lightly marked to emerge. Surely enough, a woman in a fur coat soon exited the building. Holton ran up, grabbed the coat, and attempted to pull it off her. She fought, and the AWOL American ran back to the cab he had stolen from Heath. A few hours later, British investigators, staking out the taxi, caught the lying mobster and so-called war hero. Holton and Jones were quickly tried and sentenced to death. 5 months later, Elizabeth Jones' death sentence was commuted to life in prison. On March 8, 1945, as American troops swept towards Berlin on the Western Front and the Russian Army front on the east, Holton was hanged outside the prison. 9 years later, Elizabeth Jones was released from prison and disappeared into history.